everybody in Facebook land. It is Intentional Bliss here for our Sunday cocktail hour. Cheers.
Cheers. Post-workshop, we had a really great workshop. It was really nice. Oh, I have to drink after we cheers.
Yeah,
it's bad luck.
I know.
I know.
It's a Malbec.
Malbec is nice.
It's okay.
Nice, yeah.
It's okay. Anyway, we're not here to talk about wine. We're here to talk about our workshop, which was really fantastic. We did our first collaborative work together at this terrific studio called the Inner Brew. I just love the name of it. But Tanya, talk about that space.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful space. It's actually in the Lake Park Art District. Off of North Lake Boulevard. So it's a really beautiful space, and she has a couple studios in there. It's like one big space where there's like
like a city in there.
It really it's quite amazing. And they do the entire area. So they have a gallery there. They have the Inner Brew gallery, and they have a coffee house, and they have all kinds of different things, and then they have art murals in the back of the building.
That thing was amazing. The art mural was amazing.
Oh, I was like, who was that talking?
No, that was us.
I was
looking at us at the same time. Yeah. Show the postcard.
So the Inner Brew. Yeah, so the Inner Brew, it's really, really beautiful space. And it's a nice open studio space you can see here, like with these beautiful windows and this nice high ceiling. And she has tons of classes. So this is actually, so the Lake Park Art District at the Brew House. And they have live music, they have craft beer, they have vendors, they just had like a block party where they had showcased all the artists who did the artwork.
Just to be clear, that's the restaurant down the street from where we were, right?
The Brew House?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all in that strip. Yeah,
so Inner Brew and the Brew House.
Inner Brew and the Brew House, yeah. And so it's a really beautiful space, but she does yoga, dance, jiu-jitsu, massage. She also does business consulting too, which we kind of talked to her. She's her name Donna, and Joy, I think, is the other. We didn't meet her.
No, we didn't meet Joy.
Only Donna was there.
Who took the workshop.
She did.
And she loved it.
She really did. It was really nice. She's such a special woman, yeah.
So for those of you who missed it, fear not, we're going to be doing another one in July, and we'll talk schedule a little bit more toward the end of our discussion, because we did want to focus more on the workshop today. So tune in for July. We'll be doing another collaborative workshop and many more other wonderful things to come. But I just have to, I just want to take a second to say that this was my first experience, really experiencing Tanya teaching in total of doing. You did vinyasa, and you did kundalini, and she did sound healing, and just the whole combination in between with the stuff I was doing. But I got to be a student for a minute, so I just have to tell you, your cueing is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And I really didn't feel confused or lost. And usually, typically, I've had not great yoga experiences in the past. I've had people who weren't clear in their cueing or would force me into positions, and this was a very gentle, grounding. I don't know. I thought it was trippy, man. I dug it. So
thank you. I appreciate that. So it's really awesome, because I just did a little vinyasa flow. Amanda did a foot treatment. She took us through a foot treatment. So that was, we stayed standing, and then we started in Tadasana. We just did a little salutation to the sun, which was really nice because the sun actually literally came out while we were doing that. It was really, really nice.
Like a kiss from the heavens.
Yeah, and then so after we did that little sun salutation, then Amanda walked us through, what'd you do, the rebalance? Because you're on the floor?
I did the rebalance with the single leg lift. So again, those of you who are familiar with melt, normally I wouldn't do that in for beginners, but I don't know, it's kind of fun for me to do that with people because
it was really nice.
Falling off the roller, it's a fun little opportunity for me. But it was all about getting energetic flow and getting grounding and getting communication from head to toe, and that's really what the single leg lift is all about. So it was cool how Tanya and I just tossed the ball back and forth, but Tanya's a melt instructor, so she actually got to take the class.
To be a student and a melt. So it was really, obviously, because Amanda's amazing. She's one of the Super Six, one of the master trainers, so it's always a pleasure, to take her classes and so forth. But it was really nice, I think, as a teacher of melt, we often sometimes don't really get to do our own melt. When we're doing our own melt, we probably have things going through our mind, or like our to-do list, and let me hurry up and get this done because I got to do this or whatever. But when you're actually in someone else's class and they're walking you through a sequence, it's so incredibly helpful in my own grounding. And because I'm not thinking about what's coming next, I'm not thinking about what I have to do, I'm just thinking about listening to and following your cues. And it was even a nice test to not try to jump ahead because I knew what was coming next, because I know the sequences. But so it was really a nice challenge for me just to drop into this space and just to be and just allow myself to just follow you. You know, so it was really nice in that way.
You mentioned a really interesting point and this is applicable to anybody in any modality as a teacher, whether it be yoga or Pilates or whatever, that when I melt every day.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm alone.
Yeah.
And I'm like just going through it because I know what to do. And it's totally different when you're in a group with people, you're in a room with different energies, different bodies. And you're right, somebody else's energy and somebody else's way of cueing something is coming through, and it's kind of like, oh, I never would have cued it that way.
Yeah,
you know,
like what was it that you said, like when we were doing the Grateful Dead dance? So when we're kind of clearing up the autopilot and we're kind of clearing up those signaling, because I think for myself, I always use this is like we're taking the phone and we're going, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? And so Amanda was like, it's like we're doing the Grateful Dead, and it was so true. I loved it.
Your joints around your center.
Yeah, exactly. So it was really
I think
nice.
I did a class.
If you know who Grateful Dead is, you know, but people our age will, but maybe. No, did you say that you taught somebody who didn't know?
Yeah, I know, they didn't. They were like, I said, just, move your joints around your center of gravity like you're at a Dead show. And it was like cricket, 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 cricket. I was like,
okay.
All right, moving on.
Moving on.
Anyway, so it was totally fun. It was neat to bounce back and forth. So I'm glad you like that.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that if you haven't figured it out already, I mean, Tanya and I are both extremely funny people.
We're pretty comical.
But when you're doing like Kundalini and yoga, you can't be like cracking jokes. You're trying to get people into the moment and I tend to crack jokes during a melt class because I'm trying to do the opposite. I'm trying to get people out of their head and into their body in a different way. Where Tanya, you primarily do it with breath.
Yeah, and mantra.
Talk more about that.
Yeah, so we actually, with the breath and the mantra, with our Kundalini work, because our Kundalini, we had our nice little section, like after you did your work, and it was really cool because we actually, when I was on my way to the workshop today, I thought, the sequence that I'm going to do is a nice beginner sequence of Kundalini. It was just a nice beginner movement where we're kind of moving through the chakras, we're tapping into the breath of fire, we're doing Sat Kriya. So for those of you that are familiar with Kundalini Yoga, you'll know what I'm talking about. But we're basically starting to move the energy up the spine because our Kundalini energy, which is just the creative potential that lies within us, it lies in the base of the spine, kind of at our root chakra, our second chakra area. So what we're doing with Kundalini is we're starting to bring that energy up through the chakra so we can use it in more expressive and clear ways. Yeah, so it doesn't just get stuck and stagnant. And then so I just had this idea. I was like, man, because in the beginning of Kundalini class, we're tuning in, we're sitting in our Sukhasana, which is easy pose, which is never easy. It's never easy for people. And so we basically, I just thought, well, why don't I have Amanda do a hip opening sequence? So we had her, she did the pelvic compression, but we used Sukhasana as our assessment.
It was brilliant.
So it was really, and it worked out really well.
It worked great. And I mean, we've talked about that in melt trainings where we talk about, if you're a yoga instructor, anything can be an assessment.
Exactly.
Primarily, anything,
down dog,
anything can be an assessment. So, down dog. But I love that because it's one of the things we sit so much.
Yeah.
We sit so much anyway, and not in a good way. So when you actually have to sit for your
meditation or practice,
right? That when it becomes painful, it discourages people from wanting to do the practice. So it's nice to know. We did an experiment today, and I'm sure it's been done before. I'm sure we're not alone in that. But to be able to do both of those was really terrific because I normally can't sit crisscross applesauce for a long time. What do you call it? What's it called?
Sukhasana.
Sukhasana.
Easy pose.
Easy pose.
Sukhasana or
crisscross applesauce.
Indian style, also another familiar term.
That's not politically correct anymore.
Oh, it's not. Sorry,
no, crisscross
applesauce. Sukhasana. So
yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't care anyway, so I still say it anyway.
Yeah. But it was really nice, because then I think as well, because kind of going back, I got off track with the mantra and the breath work. But we use the breath work and we use mantra to begin to move energy in the body and to begin to bring us into our meditative state of mind. Because in yoga, the yogic sciences, we don't just have our physical body, but we also have our auric body, we have our pranic body, which is our breath moving through, and we also have our positive mind, our negative mind, and our neutral mind. And the positive mind is like, yeah, you can do anything you want to, you can jump off that bridge and you'll be just fine because you're a superhero. And then the negative mind is like, oh man, I can't really do anything. I'm not going to be good at it. I'm not going to do. But when we can come into the neutral mind, the meditative state, the neutral mind will help us use the best of both of those.
Yeah.
So we know to not jump off the bridge because it would be bad for us, So we kind of like when we want more of our actions and stuff coming from that meditative state of mind. And so a really effective, efficient way to do that is with breath and mantra.
Yeah.
Because you're literally then just shifting your brain patterns. And you notice that, I don't know if you notice it, I always try to point it out, like when we're done chanting, are you aware of the palpable silence that there is after you're done chanting?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I was also very aware of the awesome music you were playing in the background.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I had the wrenching car playing.
Actually, that's the first time I've taught Melt with music in the background, and that was that was hard for me. That was hard for me.
Oh, having the mantras thing.
I'm not used to having. I used to, when I first was teaching Melt, I tried to have groovy music in the background, like I'd play Enya, and it just was so distracting that I stopped doing it. So it was fun. It was when we were doing the rebalance sequence and you still had the music playing. And I was like, oh my god, this is so hard for me. I just kept it felt like somebody was like,
oh, that's so funny. That's so funny.
But not really doing.
Yeah.
But I learned something new. What's interesting though is that that we pointed out in the workshop, because the people who were there asked a ton of questions about our Mexico retreat, which was great.
It's some great questions.
That in our Mexico retreat, you won't find the two of us teaching at the same time necessarily. This was like literally a 2-hour workshop of tossing the ball back and forth, which was great, and it worked really well. But it's not necessarily what it's going to be. It's not what it's going to be like in Mexico. So my Melt classes will not have the music.
No.
I like it.
I know.
Just not when I'm teaching.
Exactly. So it's funny because for me, so when I first started teaching Melt, I never had music, right? So, because I'm so used to with teaching Pilates and yoga, I always have something playing, right? So when I first started teaching Melt, it was really interesting. I really enjoyed the silence, so I could really focus on what I'm doing and get them into their body. And so now, just with my own experimentation, with my own practice every day, I started to notice how incredibly the vibration started increasing, and I was able to feel more where energy was moving in my body after melting, right? Because clearly we're opening up the connective tissue, and our energetic pathways are running through the connective tissue. So I started experimenting with just having some soft music in the background when I was melting.
I do that.
Yeah, and I started noticing.
I just can't teach it.
Exactly.
With it, right?
Yeah, and so, no, I can understand that. Yeah, and so it was interesting because I started noticing that the more I was opening my tissues, the more the vibration was coming into my body. And then I noticed that it was helping my students become more calm. But I see what you're saying with having it on. So if we ever do a tag team again, I'll just remind me and I'll shift it down.
I just need to suck it up and learn how to take the music.
Well, I can turn it down, and they can also do instrumental music where there's no a flute, Native American
somebody's
flute.
singing.
So where there's nobody talking.
You're interrupting me.
Because it's funny because I actually when I sleep, I like to have music on sometimes, but I can't have music where people are talking because I'll start choreographing things in my head and I'll start dancing. But if it's Native American flute or something like that, or the gong or something like that, I can have it. So I get what you're saying about teaching with that distraction,
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we had a really good time.
It was really fun.
Sorry you missed it, but we'll be back. We'll be back in
July. Yeah.
Because I will be traveling this coming week. What's today? Sunday. So
Sunday,
Wednesday. I'm heading up to New York. I'm going to be with the Melt Method creator. There are going to be 2 trainings back to back. We got the hand and foot training going on first, and then have a few days off, and then the very last Melt Lab. So all the master trainers will be there, and Sue will be teaching it, and then I'll be back here, moving into my new apartment. God help me, and then flying off to San Diego for a level 1 training that I am co-leading with Gloria Stewart, who's another one of the master trainers.
Yeah, nice.
And then settling in July and teaching more workshops and classes, and the Inner Brew, man, that is the place.
It's really such a beautiful space, you know, and I know for myself for the past few years I've been teaching out of my apartment, you know, most people know, so I was teaching out of, you know, down in Lake Worth for quite some time.
Which is beautiful in here.
It's beautiful,
no
and I love it. There's no furniture. It's a nice little studio space, but I'm so limited with my reach to people, and then also I'm so limited to where, like, I remember one day I had 7 people in here, and I was moving my tables. I thought, like, if I ever wanted a class where I have more people, I don't have space. I don't have room. I have to move my carpet. I have to move everything, and I just thought, I really put it out into the universe that I wanted to find a space that fit right for me and the energy that I'm trying to create in my classes. And, you know, my first experience at the Inner Brew was for one of my friends who's a brilliant Tantra practitioner, and she's also one of my students as well. She comes to my melt classes on Sunday mornings. She hired me to be one of the sound musicians at one of her tantric events, and
like
it
the
was
international sign.
Yeah, it is, because I always do that. It's the international sign for singing bowls. Did somebody join? Is that Megan? Hi, Megan.
I can't see from here.
I know. I just happened to see it's Megan. Yeah.
Yay!
Thank you for joining. And so I really fell in love with this space. I thought this is such a beautiful. It's such a nice, spacious room. There's all these beautiful windows. The lights that she has.
It was a dance studio.
It was a dance studio.
Like a ballroom dance studio, which they still have dance.
They still have dance there. They have everything there. It's really beautiful. And so that was my first experience, and I haven't been back there since. And that was when they literally opened. So I think that Donna said today that was literally their first event that they had.
They've been open for 3 months, and they're exploding.
They're exploding, and it's all like her energy is amazing. And so I just thought to myself, this is the space.
Well, you know what I like. You know what I like most?
What?
You can go just right down the sidewalk and get a beer afterwards.
At the Brew House Gallery.
Just kidding. You're all thinking of an alcoholic or something. I'm really
I get her all juiced up with the Kundalini and shit.
Yeah, I know, really. The last thing in the world you want to do is any of that. So let's look at some of the classes that are on here. You read them.
Yeah, so she has, they have a tap class. They have a soul brew. And I know, actually, on Friday nights, 2 of my sound healing peeps are Sat Kirtan and Dakota Dawkins. They actually do an event there called the Sonic Brew every Friday night at 7:30, and they do sound healing. It's just all sound healing, and she has a beautiful voice. She composes her own music on the harmonium with mantras, and Dakota is just he's an old soul. He's so beautiful. Will you do something with one of your bowls to show people what a little sound healing situation is? I'll actually let me get my practitioner bowl while you do whatever.
Because I have to say the bowls they're like crack. Oh my god. Alright, crack is probably a little
it's a little, I know exactly.
But it's pretty cool, the vibrations. I actually felt like I needed more from you tonight.
You need, you know, it's funny.
Trying to get it all.
So that's what it is. So she's really just kind of coercing me to play more bowls here. So it's funny because I actually, when I was teaching the Kundalini, I all of a sudden noticed, I was like, oh wow, man, we have like 2 minutes left. And so, because Amanda was going to finish us off with like a nice neck compression. I cut into it, and I was like, oh, okay, this isn't going to work, you know. So I was like, well, we're going to wrap it up, and we're doing the sound healing now. So, but this is called a practitioner bowl. So this is actually infused with different gems and metals, and this is called a grandmother alchemy bowl.
Mine doesn't work.
Yours probably isn't even real. The glass, I don't know. It's probably not even real. I'm not sure. But so this is called a practitioner bowl, and so this one is actually tuned to a G sharp, which is for the throat chakra. And this one is nice because you can kind of move it around a bit.
I love it. It like goes.
Nancy's on.
Hi, Nancy. You made it.
You made it for the big, what did she say this was? The big wine glass?
The big wine.
The big wine glass. And our picture. Could you imagine? But so the sound is really nice because it creates a meditative state without trying. So especially, it's one of the reasons I love teaching mantra and stuff, because especially, we're all human. We all have problems meditating.
Right.
When we sit down to be with ourselves, all of a sudden our mind's like, oh, you're quiet? Oh, okay, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, I've got, because
Right.
it's all coming up to come out. It needs to come up. So when you're actually, your mind starts all that chattering, it's okay. That's actually part of the meditative process. But the nice thing with the sound is that it starts to just let that come up without you having to name it or pay attention to it.
It's so cool. Keep doing it. Make it louder.
Can you guys hear that over the Facebook Live?
If you can hear it, tell us. It is so trippy. It's like, and I think for those of us who have been to Red Mountain Resort and had a sound healing with Bettina. Well, actually, she did what is it? She spits on you at the end. It's called the life.
It's on you.
The life path reading.
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear it? Yeah, love the vibes.
Oh, cool.
Yay, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, so the sound, and she finishes it. She gets you like all on that bare rug and with the bolsters, and she does that, and it's like it goes all the way through you, and it's so trippy.
It's so beautiful, and like the nice thing with the practitioner bowl is like you can actually put it on, and the vibration will actually start to go through you. Yeah, so I just have it sitting on her knee, or I could put it on her shoulder.
Just don't put it in my ear.
No, I won't put it in your ear. But we did do a meditation with the breath work. We did the Brahmari breath, where we closed off our ears and our eyes.
And then I was like, when are we done?
But then I was like, because they can't hear me once they close off all their senses, and we're like, right. So then I'm just like, I have to kind of wait for everybody to inhale so I know they can hear me. Then I'm like, okay, let this be the last one. But the sound is really powerful. Sound is just really nice. It's just a sweet little way to, change the vibrational patterns in your brain and in your body. And the sound is just a really healing tool. So you open it up with melt and you start to use the sound, and you can really start to heal some stuff in the tissues.
Well, one of the things we were talking about doing with Donna is I would teach a melt class while Tanya did the bowls while I'm teaching. And since there are no words.
I know. It's like, what was it? So my teacher, one of my sound healing teachers, Jay, so he's been traveling the world traveling the United States and Canada for like 18 years or something like that. He said he literally hasn't been home. And so he just travels around doing sound healings. And, I loved the way that he said it, and I never forgot it, but that the sound healing is just that we have all of our earthly little words. That sounds really great, especially when you're talking about yogic stuff and spiritual stuff. You have all these things that just sound so fantastic, but the sound just gets the business done.
Oh.
It just gets to work. So we can say all of our earthly little words, but the sound does the job. And it just brings you into that state. And when you can actually get into that state without using your words, you get much deeper with it. So it's kind of nice because I love playing for people. I love the bowls. I love using it because I love like watching that little, you can kind of see when they're like tapping out and they're like, exactly. So it's really great.
Well, we love it for us because it makes us feel really good, and what we want to give to you. We want to give to everybody, which is what Intentional Bliss is really all about. I mean, Tanya and I are passionate about, it's really, this Intentional Bliss is really a mission. It's a mission of bringing this message of vital self-care, especially in this world today, with all the chaos going on and all the violence and hatred, that if, it always starts with us, right? Yeah. So just like vibrations of sound, vibration of intention, the more that we can teach others to also do this for themselves, they'll tell two friends, and they'll tell two friends, and so on and so on. And so it's really about inspiring people to empower themselves, to live better lives now, and that's your awaken rhythms of inner bliss and my be awesome in your body. It's really, it's our battle cry.
And I think, it's really important now with like everything happening in the world. It's so much more important now for people we need more people in the world taking care of themselves. We need more people in the world meditating. Yep. We need more people coming more from their heart space. And the work that the passion that we have is teaching people how to do that, because I know for myself, like the yoga and melt and meditation has made such a massive shift in my life with not only how I feel physically, but how I feel emotionally, mentally, how I deal with the challenges in life. And I don't know what I would do without these tools. Like, they really have just shifted everything for me, and not only for using them for specific purposes, but I also notice that I react less to things that I used to react to, or things that used to really make me upset.
So you can stop being an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. That's another way to put it. But yeah, you just stop reacting, and you stop letting the outside world, because if the outside world is always dictating how you feel, you're going to be a basket case all the time.
Yeah,
like, it's just, from whether it's somebody that cut you off on the road, or it was a fight with your spouse, or an incident with your family member, whatever it is, you'll constantly be at the beck and call of everything outside of you. And so the thing that I really love, especially with the Kundalini yoga and teaching the mantra and meditation, is they're really practical tools where that stuff just stops. All of a sudden, without even trying to do it, you realize, like, man, that thing was just that, that person really said something, and that would have really pissed me off a couple of years ago.
I didn't have to sit and count to 10.
And I didn't, because in my own mind, I can silently repeat a mantra, or like, if like my mind's going off and I'm saying, oh, this person's not going to like me, or they're not going to, whatever the story is, that we all have stories, but whatever it is, I know that I can silently repeat Sat, silently repeat Nam. So the Sat is on my inhale, the Nam is on my exhale. I can be sitting here talking to you, and or you talking to me, and I'm doing it, and you would never know that I'm doing it.
Right.
But I'm literally changing and saying, okay, is all this chaos in my mind? That's not really the truth of who I am. Right. So by saying that Sat Nam, or even Om, or just a can then just tap you into that. It's like hopping on a vibrational express train. Just gets you out of that muck.
That's a great way to put it.
It was a great, and Guru Jagat is actually a yoga instructor who teaches a lot online on Kundalini yoga, and I heard her say that once. It's like, the local stops on the train, or all the crap that's always making us upset, all the things in life, because that's just life, right? But then the mantras give you a tool to get you onto the vibrational express train, where then all of a sudden you're like, oh, yeah, oh, okay. Got it.
This train could be found in Tulum, Mexico.
Exactly.
This October 21st to the 28th.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
Again, we are, the other thing I just want to mention is that everything that we teach is not meant to replace anything in your life. It's an additional tool. It's just a tool.
Yep.
To make all that better. So if you're a big spinner, if you're a big CrossFitter,
a big power yoga person, it's all good.
Oh my God, it all works together, and you don't have to do all of it all at the same time. You could do 10 minutes as prep beforehand, but then before you know it, the one thing I've always said is, like, I used to have a Concept 2 rowing machine, which I didn't use that often. I loved using it, but I just didn't. It was on its side all the time.
Oh, Sat Nam, Sat Kirtan, one of my yoga teachers.
Hi.
Sat Kirtan, I was just telling you, her Friday night Sonic Brew with Dakota is at 7:30 at the Inner Brew, so you should check it out Friday nights. Oh. Yeah, she does the sound healing.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry,
no, I was saying, like, the rowing machine. So I would get on that thing for like 5 minutes, and I'd be like, oh my God, it's the longest 5 minutes of my life. I hate this. I hate it. But, an hour of melt goes by in 5 minutes in my brain.
It's amazing.
So it's really how you think about it. Self-care is not, it's not a chore. It was,
and it's not for old people. It's not for injured people. It's for every people.
I know. I did have that. I did. It's for everybody. I did have that one time. I told you about that time that I went around polling people about, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word self-care? And my fiance, who was my boyfriend at the time, I asked him, and he went, oh, sounds like something I just don't want to do.
That's so funny.
Right? Yeah, and then I asked somebody else, and they're like, I don't know, it sounds like old people in diapers. I didn't understand that. I was like, wow, how do you get... So I think I finally got to the point where I didn't like the term self-care at all, which is how I came up with Be Awesome in Your Body. Mm-hmm. And really intentional bliss, that means self-care too. I mean, you are intentionally blissing out, man. I mean, you're making the conscious choice.
Yeah. You're kind of like taking your life into your own hands is how I feel. Like, I really feel like teaching, like, I've often said before that I don't know what I did in a past life, that I got to be a teacher in this life, but it's something that I've always like held very sacred, because my teachers have been so important and impactful in my own life But the thing I think when I was teaching just Pilates, you know, I didn't have that same sense of that sacredness as I do teaching melt and yoga and the Kundalini and the Hatha. But because they're really powerful tools that give us the power back to take care of ourselves. You know, so we're not depending on going to see, oh, I wake up and my back is hurting. I don't have to go make an appointment with my chiropractor. I can do a session on myself, and I know that I can make my back feel better, and then it doesn't replace the chiropractor. It actually helps them do their job better. Because then when you go see them, you've actually been taking care of your own tissues on a daily basis that they can then catapult you with the work that they can do. Because I think it's really important to have healers that you go to.
Yeah, sure.
But then also to have those tools that you know that you can use. And like I have a spiritual director that I consult and that I talk with about my spiritual path and all of these things. But then I also have my tools with Kundalini yoga and with Hatha yoga and meditation and mantra that I can use myself every day that help me become clearer when I go see my spiritual director. You know, so I'm not just depending on her to, you know, I'm actually, you know, I don't know what else to say.
And I'm the only one who's really drinking here. Anyway, thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll be back again sometime when I'm back in Palm Beach.
There you go. Perfect.
Cheers, Satnam.
Satnam, guys.
Hang loose, whatever it is. And be sure to go to intentionalbliss.org to learn more about our Tulum retreat.
We'd love to have you there. We had a lot of people today asking about the excursions that they're pretty stoked about having the really cool excursions that they have there, the Mayan ruins and different things like that. So it's going to be a really great week. So we hope that you'll be with us. Yeah.
Come join.
Yay.
Well said. Okay, sorry. We both can't see. So now you can see me all in my.
Thank you guys so much for
thanks for coming.
Satnam.
Bye.
Bye.